Reason 5 to not vote Democrat. I am Mark Stewart. Prior 4 reasons were domestic in nature. We talked last about how the Democrat leaders don't support workers in corporate America. Well, of late, Democrat leaders don't support workers in the military either. The military, 1 million strong, or should I say, not strong, because it's been eviscerated. Funding's been cut. Troops have been whittled down under different kinds of standards so that we don't have the kind of high caliber people that we did 20, 30 years ago. Our ability to defend against a two-front attack, almost impossible. Okay? We're going to succumb. And when there are enemies, multiple ones, I don't know if we got the allies, but we would need them. Democrats have not been pro-military, in part because they don't seem to think that America has a mission in the world. President Obama denied that America was special. Democrats in Congress let us think that, oh, America is just like one of many. We could blend into Europe. Well, Europe, which couldn't defend itself against the Nazi menace, Europe, which right now totally relies on the United States, should there be another menace, they don't have the ability to greatly influence the world. America, which still does, is losing it under Democrats. Now, they may say, well, we shouldn't influence the world. Well, for 80 years, American influence has paid dividends for ourselves primarily, but for world nature, for everybody who was freed or left to do what they wanted to do without molestation from enemies, thanks to American troops. America, without its military, means the world has the lights go out. We become a much more barbaric place. Well, elites can still avoid that. They can go to Davos. They can go to special places and enclave with themselves and their own personal security. But when the world is in tumult, and Democrats don't seem to mind, if the world is in tumult, but elites, they get away with whatever they want to do, this is not a good reason to be voting for those Democrat elites. It is non-Democrats, soldiers, who are going to possibly be called on to save the world once again. And there are very few sons of high-placed Democrats serving in the military. Who's fighting Al-Shabaab? Who's fighting Al-Qaeda? Who would be on the front lines if we were to defend militarily the Ukraine? It's almost always conservative young men and women. It's not the sons of elite liberals. And what a change. 80 years ago, it was Democratic leaders, Roosevelt, Truman, and a mostly Democrat Congress, that successfully fought two totalitarian regimes, the Nazis and the Imperial Japanese. That's gone now. Okay? We can't strongly fight if a totalitarian regime wanted to menace us. Now, thankfully, Americans are quite friendly, and maybe even China doesn't want to attack us. But they certainly would like to expand their own power. And what's going to happen when they try to move on Taiwan or Indonesia or Singapore? I give it 30 months. It's August of 2022. Now, China's getting very fat and happy without hardly doing anything, because America, we, instead of really educating and training our people, we let them waft into fatness, and we loft their brains get confused by all these goofy elite theories. General Mark Milley wants to assign to his staff books about diversity training. Commander-in-Chief Joe Biden touts that he has uniforms that fit the 8 months pregnant female fighter pilot. Now, there aren't too many in the first place, and it's only 1 month off. How about respecting that maybe they shouldn't be in a cockpit anyway? We don't need separate uniforms. And we certainly don't need diversity at the expense of a fired up fighting force. And we lost a lot of those when Biden's policy said, if you refuse to vaccinate, we who have trained you so well are going to fire you. And the armed services lost a good chunk of very good people because of a retarded COVID. I give it 30 months. Again, it's August of 2022. By February of 25, because I don't think they'll do anything in this first Biden term. But there could be a second or a successor with one of these guys. You think they're going to stand up? China is licking its chops at the possibility of invasion. And I think by February of 2025, there will be an ally that succumbs, and we will not be able to do anything about it. I'm Mark Stewart, hoping that you can resurrect the old-fashioned Democrats who don't run for office now. They are now called Republicans or Independents or Libertarians. But the Democrats who are holding office now are not of that sort. Don't let them stay in office. Don't vote Democrat.